Good evening and welcome to Eagle Eye News at 6.
Eagle Eye TV has done a great job.
And welcome to Eagle Eye News at 6.
We are just having a great time here in Auburn, Alabama. The party is not over yet.
Eagle Eye TV, Auburn's news leader.
Good evening and welcome to Eagle Eye News at 6. I'm Brady Huneycutt.
And I'm Morgan Sims. Thank you for joining us tonight.
On Saturday, Auburn students danced the night away on Sanford Lawn for UPC's 4th annual Magnolia Ball. The event gives students across the university a chance to put on their best formal wear and enjoy a night of elegance, fun, and school spirit regardless of their university affiliation. Eagle Eye reporter Caroline Burrows brings us the story of that magical night.
Here on Sanford Lawn, Auburn students got ready to dance. Auburn University's Program Council Tiger Nights Committee hosted its 4th annual Magnolia Ball.
Auburn University students gathered on Sanford Lawn to enjoy UPC's Magnolia Ball. Hosted on Saturday, April 12th from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., the Magnolia Ball is a free university-wide formal. No matter their organizational affiliation, all students were invited to attend. Students were encouraged to dress in their best semi-formal attire and come with a date, friends, or just solo. Attendees were able to listen to music from a live DJ, hit the dance floor with their peers, enjoy a delicious catered meal, and commemorate the night with several photo opportunities. Student Savannah Anderson, Director of Special Events, tells us more.
So we've actually been having Magnolia Ball for 4 years. This is the 4th annual one. It started off in the Auburn Hotel, and for the last 3 years we've had it here on Sanford Lawn, so it was a really big improvement there. With Magnolia Ball, we have kind of a catered dinner. Tonight we have chicken fingers, sliders, and macaroni and cheese, as well as a DJ or a live band sometimes. And we just try to create an environment for students to come and enjoy, create that kind of formal aspect for students who aren't in Greek life or aren't in other organizations that might have a formal like that. It's open to all Auburn students, whether it be grad students, faculty. If you have an Auburn ID, you're more than welcome to join us. And it's a great alcohol alternative for a Saturday night where we can just all come, have a good time, enjoy the band, and hang out together and be part of that Auburn family that some people don't have here at Auburn.
The Magnolia Ball was hosted by the Tiger Nights Committee, whose goal is to curate fun experiences for students on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights through late-night alcohol alternative programming.
And for Eagle Eye TV, I'm Caroline Burrows.
Last Tuesday, April 8th, distribution of the 128th edition of Auburn's yearbook, The Glomerata, began throughout campus, with locations on Haley Concourse, the Recreation and Wellness Center, Gin Concourse, the Edge Dining Hall, and Ralph Braun Drawn Library. Distribution closed early Tuesday due to demand, and the Glomerata team held 2,880 books to distribute the following day. Distribution ultimately concluded Wednesday, April 9th, after all 9,000 books had been handed out. Books were free to all Auburn students and were distributed on a first-come, first-served basis, featuring a little over 400 pages to highlight the past year at Auburn University. The book's cover was designed by Auburn student Emma Crawford. Glomerata member Sam Northcutt talked to us about why the Glom is important for Auburn.
It's so important for Auburn because it's so unique to us. There's only a few universities that do this. And then it's also it's created by the students for the students. And it's just all about y'all and all about Auburn, and it's amazing.
Last Thursday, the College Democrats, College Republicans, and the Libertarian Mises Society held the great debate once again in the Haley Center, and a great debate it was. The representatives of each political faction discussed divisive subjects such as Donald Trump's tariff and immigration policies. The night saw the Democrats and Republicans duking it out, with the Mises Society siding with one or another, sometimes opting for their own unique position. Toward the end, the moderator turned to those in attendance for questions, and in that audience was political science professor Dr. Paul Harris, who brought his global politics class with him to the debate. We went and spoke to the representative of each party and asked them what their thoughts on the debate were and what their goals they had going in.
On the surface, it might seem kind of unstable, and there's a lot of questioning surrounding this administration right now. And I just kind of wanted to subside some of those fears and really just clarify what we're about as a party and, supporting our stance on immigration, supporting things like the DOJ budget cuts and things of that nature. This time, I believe that I'm coming at this with almost a negative stance because it's always easy to criticize the current administration so much more. And I noticed that. I feel like there's a pressure for me to almost play more of a defensive role than an offensive role.
They are not Republicans. They are forming a new form of party under Donald Trump. They have left my parents themselves, who are staunch conservatives, behind. And I think that is horrendous. And the fact that the college Republicans sat up on the stage and defended this platform, I find to be ridiculous. I just wanted to communicate the fact that they continue to lie and lie and lie and lie and lie about these things. And they get away with it because no one explains to them why this is not true.
The government is ripping you off using the Federal Reserve to counterfeit your money, decrease your purchasing power, and inflate it beyond comprehension. And that's the main problem that we have in this country. It doesn't matter who's in charge. This debate this year, weirdly enough, there's a lot more agreement than there was before last year. I think it's been like the same way every year it has been that I've been doing this. Republicans are going to attack Democrats, Democrats are going to attack Republicans, and then both parties are confused about whatever we say.
On Saturday, April 5th, hundreds of people gathered outside of Opelika City Hall to protest the current presidential campaign. Hands Off is a nationwide set of protests that are in resistance to the administration of Donald Trump's second presidency. They are protesting for the removal of Trump and Elon from office and demanding an end to federal cuts from major federal offices. The Hands Off protest also calls for lifting off the tariffs, the protection of minorities, and the reconstruction of diplomatic relations with Canada and Europe. Soon after the break for your weather outlook for the loveliest village on the plains from Eagle Eye's Beauman, Ivester. You're watching Eagle Eye News at 6. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Eagle Eye News at 6. I'm Beauman Ivester here with your weekly weather outlook for the loveliest village on the plains. Let's get into it. Tomorrow we will see AM clouds and PM sun, which will bring us a high of 72 and a low of 49. Wednesday's all sunny skies with a high of 73 and a low of 50. It's going to heat up just a bit more Thursday. The high will be 79 and the low will be 53, and sunny skies will follow. Friday is going to be partly cloudy with a high of 84 and a low of 58. Now moving on over into the weekend, Saturday is going to be carrying over that high of 84 from Friday, and the low will be 63. Sunday's forecasted to be the exact same with a high of 84 and a low of 63, as well as cloudy skies. That's all I've got for y'all today. Let's head back on over to the desk with Brady and Morgan for a national news update. From Eagle Eye News, I'm Beauman Ivester. We'll be right back.
Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro spoke at a press conference Sunday just hours after what officials are calling a targeted arson at the governor's residence. The attack happened early Sunday morning as Shapiro and his family slept inside. Fire crews responded to the blaze around 2 a.m. and extinguished the flames. The governor said he, his wife, their 4 children and 2 dogs, and another family were safely evacuated. However, the building is significantly damaged. Images of the aftermath showed destroyed furniture, ash-covered floors, and some remnants of the Passover dinner the governor hosted Saturday night. Investigators say the attacker had a plan, coming over a fence around the governor's residence and forcibly entering the home before setting the fire. Police said he, quote, homemade incendiary devices, and was inside less than a minute, evading troopers who were searching for him. The suspect was arrested later Sunday. Prosecutors say they plan to charge the man arrested with attempted murder, terrorism, and aggravated arson, among other charges. The suspect could also face federal charges. The governor said Sunday the motive wasn't yet known.
A meeting between President Donald Trump and one of his administration's closest allies put immigration policy in focus Monday and addressed the legal fight around a Maryland man mistakenly deported to El Salvador's notorious mega prison. Karen Kefa is at the White House with more.
El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele was already seen as one of the Trump administration's closest foreign partners because his collaboration is so crucial to President Trump's mass deportation strategy. And a big question for the two leaders as they met at the White House on Monday surrounded a Maryland man mistakenly deported to El Salvador, whose wife identified him in a photo from an El Salvador mega prison.
I'm really happy to be here, honored, and eager to help.
Bukele is very popular back home for the moves he's made to reduce crime in El Salvador, but he's also raised objections among human rights organizations for his approach, including suspending civil liberties to go after gangs. The country's notorious terrorism confinement center, CICOT, now houses hundreds of migrants who were ousted by the U.S., who the Trump administration claims, without providing evidence, are gang members or violent criminals, making El Salvador a key partner in the Trump administration's mass deportation strategy.
We appreciate working with you because you want to stop crime, and so do we. And it's very, very effective.
Reporters pressed the two leaders and Trump administration officials for answers about Kilmer Armando Abrego Garcia, the Maryland father who was mistakenly deported to the CICOT prison because of an administrative error. The Supreme Court said last week the Trump administration needs to facilitate his return to the U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi said if El Salvador decides to release him, the U.S. would send a plane. But Bukele said he doesn't plan to.
Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
And the Trump administration has claimed Abrego Garcia is a member of the MS-13 gang. That is a claim his lawyers deny. Meanwhile, Trump also said he will deport as many, quote, dangerous undocumented immigrants as possible to El Salvador. At the White House, I'm Karen Kafa.
The tour company behind last Thursday's deadly helicopter crash in New York City is shutting down immediately. The Federal Aviation Administration made that announcement on Sunday. The helicopter's crash into the Hudson River killed all 6 people on board, including a family of physicians visiting from Spain and 2 MIT student athletes. The FAA will review New York Helicopter Tour's license and safety record and will continue to support the National Transportation Safety Administration's investigation of what happened. Earlier on Sunday, New York Senator Chuck Schumer urged federal authorities to revoke the company's operating certificate. New York Helicopter Tours was previously involved in 2 safety incidents investigated by federal authorities. From the diamond to the field, Eagle Eye's Cohen Dalzell's got your Auburn sports update for this week on the Plains after the break. You're watching Eagle Eye News at 6. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Eagle Eye News at 6. I'm Cohen Dalzell, back to give you a recap on all of the big stories that occurred in Auburn sports last week right here on the Plains. Let's get right on into it. Starting out over in Jordan-Hare with football, Auburn held their annual A-Day on Saturday to end off what Coach Hugh Freeze called a great spring. For the first time, A-Day was more of a practice than a scrimmage, with individual, offensive, and defensive drills taking up much of the time before a small red zone scrimmage session capped off the day. Saturday was the first time fans got to see many of the Tigers' new freshman and transfer acquisitions, such as Deuce Knight, New Boy Fagans, and Eric Singleton Jr. Returning sophomore receivers Cam Coleman and Perry Thompson made a couple of incredible catches during the skeleton section of the practice, while junior Keldrick Falk and sophomore Champ Anthony headlined the defensive side. Auburn will start back up with fall practice in August. Now over to the Diamond. Auburn softball also is in action for A-Day weekend in another huge series for the Tigers after winning their first games in SEC play last weekend in Lexington. The Tigers hosted 18th-ranked Georgia for 3 games and were able to win their second straight series in SEC play due to 2 big swings by K.K. McCrary. In Game 1, Auburn trailed 10-9 heading into the bottom of the 7th, but Auburn's McCrary wasn't going to let this one get away. She knocked a 2-run shot over the right field wall and walked off the Dogs 11-10. After losing Game 2 10-5 on Saturday, Auburn once again trailed heading into the final home half 4-2 on Sunday. However, a double by Analea Adams tied the game, and after a couple of walks, the bases were loaded for who else but K.K. McCrary. She took the 1-1 pitch deep off a light pole in left field for the walk-off grand slam as Auburn clinched the series with an 8-4 win. Auburn heads to Rocky Top to take on the Lady Vols this weekend. On the other side of the diamond, Auburn baseball took on third-ranked LSU in 3 games this weekend, continuing their hot streak as of late as they swept the Bayou Tigers with help from stellar pitching performances. Game 1 featured a masterclass from Samuel Dutton, who held LSU scoreless in 6 innings of work, striking out 7 batters. Auburn's offense took advantage, scoring 4 in the 5th to pull out an 8-4 win. Cade Fisher kept the pitching going with 5 innings of 1-run ball and 6 Ks on Saturday. Eric Snow hit a 2-run homer to the right in 5th, and Auburn took the series with a 4-2 win. Going for the sweep on Sunday, Auburn scored a quick 3 runs as a combination of Andreas Alvarez, Griffin Graves, and Dylan Watts held it down for Auburn on the mound, sweeping LSU for the first time since 1988, 3-2. Auburn takes on Jacksonville State in Jacksonville on Tuesday before facing the nation's #1, Texas, this weekend in Austin. And that is all I have for sports tonight. Stay tuned after the break to hear about the new delicious Easter egg alternatives and a retirement party for one special golden retriever. I'm Cohen Dalzell for Eagle Eye Sports, and you are watching Eagle Eye News at 6. We'll be right back.
Electronics imported to the U.S. will be exempt from President Donald Trump's reciprocal tariffs, at least temporarily. That means the price of smartphones, computers, and various electronic parts may not go up, but other items could cost consumers more. Jen Sullivan looks at how the ongoing trade war will impact your wallet.
U.S. markets closing Friday following a tumultuous week of ups and downs after President Donald Trump's aggressive tariff announcements. Then hours after they took effect, Trump rolling some of them back. But enormous tariffs remain in effect on China.
I lowered the tariffs on everybody, but we've been making a lot of money, and it's always been the other way around.
Chinese imports will now face a minimum 145% tariff rate. Beijing raised its tariffs on U.S. imports to 125%. Caught in the middle are U.S. consumers and business owners who are now faced with much higher prices.
We're quoting a client one day for a product, and then the very next day we have to give them another quote. And that roller coaster is not something that we can survive on as small business owners.
Trump made electronic imports exempt from the tariffs, which means the prices of smartphones, computers, and other electronics may not be affected. But the price of many other items like cars, food, and clothing coming from other countries could go up. Opponents slamming the decision.
This is the worst self-inflicted wound through economic policy since the Second World War.
Trump is hoping the tariffs will bring more manufacturing jobs to the U.S. Some economists agree.
I'm really concerned by the people who look at the situation and say, no, what we really should do is just what we've been doing since the year 2000, which is embrace this kind of hyper-globalization that has not worked well for America at all.
While Trump has paused many of his proposed tariffs, the White House says they'll revisit them in the coming months. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
Many kids love to dye eggs to celebrate Easter, but the record high egg prices have people scrambling for an alternative to the popular pastime. This prompted Jet Puffed Marshmallows to release a color dyeing kit just in time for Sunday's holiday. The first of its kind Dip and Decorate dozen kit is being sold for about $2. It comes with a 24-ounce bag of extra large marshmallows, 6 colors, miniature tongs for dipping, and decorating pens for designs. The kits are being sold exclusively on Walmart's website and will be restocked daily.
It was a bittersweet goodbye at one Massachusetts hospital on Friday. Staff members wished a happy retirement to a beloved hospital dog whose career has been cut short. Julian McDonald has the story.
As bubbles drifted down across the hallway inside Newton Wellesley Hospital Friday, healthcare workers were lifted up, filled with gratitude during a bittersweet goodbye.
Oh, you're such a good boy. Thank you for all you've done.
Buddy, the hospital's beloved facility dog, is heading into an early retirement after he was diagnosed with a neurological condition. WBZ first introduced you to this cutest coworker when he first clocked in back in 2022. Buddy's different than a therapy dog. He's worked full 40-hour weeks, helping patients meet their care goals.
My job is to make it easier to be here. Mostly children, and then Buddy's a tool in my tool belt. But he was fortunate enough to work with the whole hospital. I do a lot of psych evals in the ER with kids, with adults, and a lot of them have trauma. A lot of them were very anxious about next steps. And Buddy coming in, people just lit up, and it was probably the most therapeutic thing we could offer for a lot of people.
Buddy was hired to help provide care to patients, but he came during a time when the Newton Wellesley staff really needed some care too.
It was right after COVID, and it just was such a tough time that everyone went through here. So he was that bright light at the end of the tunnel, and it was amazing.
Buddy has been a constant source of calm and comfort, and now that's what he needs.
Because of the medicines he's on, he's immunosuppressed, but also just his stamina, he wasn't happy anymore, so we had to make that decision, which was hard.
So hard because loving this boy comes so easy, and staff members wouldn't miss this sweet send-off for their selfless Buddy, whose cut short career was all about others.
I think the amount of work that he did in his short amount of time here is beyond amazing, and he's left an impact in so many lives.
In Newton, Julie McDonald, WBZ News.
We're out of time, but for more Auburn news, head over to our website, eagleeyeauburn.com, and check out our social media pages. I'm Brady Huneycutt.
And I'm Morgan Sims. Thank you for watching, and War Eagle.